Hey girls, Maria Menounos here, author of the Every Girl's Guide to Life. Want to know my best tips and secrets for organization, travel, weight loss, beauty, fashion, and everything else in between? Go to bing.com/Maria and pick up my new book, The Every Girl's Guide to Life.
You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, King Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, and streaming live on Ustream, this is AfterBuzz TV for Game of Thrones. Tonight's host is Bethany Jaber. Joining Bethany will be AfterBuzz co-hosts Nathan Hertz, Curtis Taylor, and Sarah Stretton. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest Game of Thrones news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, picking up where the show leaves off, and the buzz continues, Bethany Jaber!
Good evening. Unfortunately, Nathan is not with us tonight, but Sarah and Curtis seem to be experts on Game of Thrones. This is my first night back with AfterBuzz, so I'm going to defer to them a lot. But as I was watching the show, it's not as serial or procedural. We don't have like an A or B and C storyline to just follow. It's more like a soap. And we have like 12 things going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's crazy. So Lord Stark is getting settled into Kingsland, and his wife comes to visit him and bring him some news. We get a glimpse of his bastard son, Jon, fighting up north and protecting the wall. And everybody's kind of preparing for this winter. Arya begins her training. We find out the Targaryen king, how he died at the hands of Jaime Lancaster? Lannister.
Yeah.
Lannister. It's like all like English, but not really.
Yeah.
I want to say Lancaster, but it's Lannister. We get some more information about the imp. So it's just there's a lot going on here. Let's start with Lord Stark. My goodness, he's kind of come home in a way.
I think he's actually more of leaving home. He's going to this world where he's obviously been before, but I don't think he likes it. Like, to him, I mean, we saw him go into this meeting of the small council, and he's like, what is going on here? This is corrupt. This isn't being run right. And it's, to him, I think it's such a difference. I mean, in the North, he has all these values of nobility and rights and treating people well, even when you're about to kill them, like always doing that. And then he comes to this new place that's supposed to be the capital of their world, and he thinks it's just like disgusting.
It's all over the place. It's in disarray. Like we talked last week, the Starks seem like the most loving and the most organized family. You know, and up north they're very structured. And then you come down here where, like you said, where King's Landing, where you think this is the center core of your kingdom. And it should be ran a certain way, and we're finding out that it's not pretty much being ran at all.
No, he sits down at that table and he goes, well, in order of my celebratory arrival, I want like 40,000 here, 10,000 there, 10,000 there, and the whole table looks at him like, oh, dude,
we don't have that kind of money.
We don't have that, but we'll find it. But then they go, but we'll find it somewhere.
Well, no, what they actually is kind of interesting. I'm sorry. What's interesting is that we also find like I hate to keep referring to last week because you didn't know.
No, that's okay.
But last
Please
week we wanted to know what the bond was between the Lannisters and the king.
Yeah.
Well, we're also finding out this week that there's another bond between the Lannisters and the king is financial. I mean, the Lannisters have a lot of money, and the king is, the kingdom or King's Landing is broke, and they're in debt. They're in a dire debt.
$6 million in debt.
Absolutely. So,
which is, I'm assuming, a lot of money.
Oh, a ton. And one thing that I was going to add to that point exactly is that they mentioned that 3 million of that debt was from the Lannisters.
Yeah.
So borrowed from the Lannisters. And that's just giving that family even more power.
More power.
Yeah.
That's kind
So
of.
that was, that's the bond that, that bonds them basically to the kingdom.
Yeah. They're so.
Yeah. They're intertwined. They're extremely. We're finding out more and more how corrupt these Lannisters are, and how much of a stronghold they have on the kingdom, per se. Financially, they're, Cersei's, she's actually married to Robert.
Yeah.
Who Queen Cersei's actually sleeping with her brother Jaime, which is a twin brother.
Twin brother.
We find out it's a twin brother, so it's that's yucky. But
And as the boy is like, so to speak, healing and waking up and saying he doesn't remember, does he remember? I mean, or does he really not remember? What is it? Is he keeping a secret, or do you think he really has amnesia of some sort?
In this, I'm thinking that he actually, I don't know. I'm a little confused on that too. I think he might just be scared. Like, he's supposed to be, 7 years old or something. He has really no idea really what he saw or what it would really imply. He doesn't understand what, saying would do. Maybe he thinks he would get in trouble. So there's really room for it to be either way. I'm hoping that, he knows and, it comes out of him, or, he gets in some dire situation where he has to tell people. But it could go either way in my mind. I think it's cool that they made it a secret.
Ambiguous. A secret.
Yeah, see, in my thought, he, it was trauma. There was a lot of trauma that took place in that situation. So a lot of times when, you have serious trauma in a situation, people tend to, lose their memory. So my guess is that he was completely traumatized and he's in shock right now of the whole situation, and gradually. As he basically gets his bearings straight, then he starts.
If he gets his legs back.
Yeah, well, he won't. He might possibly get his legs back.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting because they were training him to be, a great swordsman and stuff like that, and archer and so forth. And his sister, Arya,
is actually.
She shot an arrow straight through. The target,
the bullseye.
Yeah, the bullseye from a distance, further than he was, and he was missing the entire target. So they had Bran, being trained like that, and his sister Arya, which is a Spitfire, which I love, so much. She's
but
great.
it's so sad because if he can't walk, they're taking away the one strength that he really did have, which was his joy of climbing.
Yeah,
and that was his
that's true.
one love. He would break any rule to do that. It was his little joyous event, and that's the thing they're taking away from him. And that's so sad.
It is sad. It's really sad. I hope he heals.
Well, that's why he was
know.
I'd rather be dead than to not walk.
I get
because
it.
that was his little. He was like a little monkey. I mean, he used to climb everything,
And now he's stuck to that
Yeah, now
bed.
he's strapped to the bed.
Explain to me the seasons here. Because they keep talking about this winter impending and the years of their birth, and I was born during a long summer, and my summer was 9 years, and so forth. So, Sarah, I'm a little confused. So have they had summer for a really long time now?
Well, basically they're in a period of summer, but it still snows. And in the north, it's colder, and in the south, it's warmer, and it progressively gets warmer as you go south.
Yeah.
So even in summer, there's still snow in the north.
Of course.
Even in summer, but there's still daylight.
Alaska,
Like the
kinda
Arctic.
Alaska.
Yeah.
But there's still daylight.
Yeah.
And then in these seasons, these long seasons last for years.
Yes.
And sometimes
okay.
they even last for generations. So Old Nan told a story about how there was a full generation in winter where people were born and then died straight in winter. And basically what they're telling them is the younger children have never experienced.
So terrifying. I'm sorry. The thought of a whole lifetime of winter
and
is
darkness in the north.
Yeah,
Just
it's
great
crazy.
darkness.
It's crazy.
I'm sorry I interrupted you. Please continue.
Oh, no. Don't even
She's
worry
great
about
too.
it.
She's great.
But so they're talking about these kids. So you have Bran and Arya. Those are the ones and are for sure and have never seen a real winter.
Yeah.
So that's why they're summer births, because they've only seen that. And then people who are born in the winter are winter births.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I can't. So they're preparing for something very long to come.
Yeah.
And they're terrified. I thought it was very interesting. not to switch things up too much, watching the imp pee on the wall because he was like, I don't really believe in these White Walkers or whatever, and I don't wild things. Like I don't really care. Yeah. And then we see him peeing on the wall towards the end of the episode.
Like symbolism.
Yeah, to just basically be like, and this is how I feel about my wall. What's up? Yeah, and has like, oh, you're gonna be in so much trouble later.
Yeah, definitely.
I was just waiting for it to like drip down on like an evil beast.
Exactly.
At the bottom
or someone one of the wildlings to have a bow and arrow and just shoot him like right in his
I was just expecting it.
I was expecting something.
Yeah.
But I guess it was just symbolism. Like you said, it was symbolism of him, pissing on.
Yeah, he doesn't believe in it.
Yeah,
he doesn't. He just is like, I don't think. And so I think something will unfortunately happen to him.
Oh, we know something's building. I mean, it's been building since the first episode. These White Walkers are mentioned from the very beginning. They're in the very first scene, so you know they're coming, and it's just such this fear is just gripping the show because in the North we know as the audience we know there's this supernatural force coming at them. And then we also see we get to see this army building across the sea. They could really be a real power. And so we see these two forces just could totally destroy the Seven Kingdoms. Because there's two of them, they're huge. These things are uncontrollable. You've got 100,000 men from the Jacarians, and you've got supernatural beings from above the wall.
I don't want to mess with the supernatural
This is
beings.
totally
I would run.
This is totally off the wall, but Sarah, have you been tanning?
I did lay out this week.
Yeah, she's looking kind of like
she does.
almost like me. Well, not quite.
Be safe. Be safe.
Oh, I sunscreen.
No, she looks good. She looks good.
You
Like
look good.
Pretty soon.
It up.
Yeah.
Next week she will be me.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
Just wear a hat or something. Protect yourself.
See, she never says that about me because
what?
You can
Curtis,
still burn.
Be safe. See,
you can still burn. It's so
well,
bad for your skin.
Yeah, it is. It's dangerous.
I've never been sunburned before.
No?
No, and I've been out in the sun for quite some time.
Good
but I've been told that we can burn.
Yeah, you can.
Just never had it. So.
Or you don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I thought when you get sunburned, you kind of, you know, right?
Yeah, you know.
See,
Sarah,
see?
I don't know. I get red sometimes, and sometimes you can't really tell.
See, because she's almost like me. That's why you almost just don't
You
know.
guys are funny.
Well, I just want to, it's just a side, because I'm thinking that, our listeners are going to be like, because I told last week that I already had a, crush on you from the other thing.
Oh, you're so
sweet. And then I
sweet.
said that Sarah was like, she's a spinoff.
Oh, no.
Because we're brunettes.
Well, yeah, I got to think for that. I gotta think for that.
Yeah, you like brunettes.
So
There we
as
go.
it goes, the viewers are going to be like, wow, these women are hot.
They're like,
And
are
they're going to
they?
want to know. They're going to want to know. And they're going to watch. And,
Now
last
they're gonna watch.
Yeah, well, last week Sarah was like decked out in all black and she looked really sexy.
Nice.
And then now she looks sexier.
Sexier.
Now I'm tanner.
Now you're
tan-
tanner.
and then
you
she's
you
more
bring
tan.
your like spring pinks in. I like it.
And
I
then
didn't know
got
we
the
were
little.
taping.
Well, no, you got that little.
I have like a
artsy rider
just look
type thing.
cool.
Yeah.
She looks cool.
Yeah, she looks like she's
I have
chilling.
like my riding outfit on and my Red Sox t-shirt.
Yeah.
I clearly like threw it on and I was like, I gotta get there.
There's a
Gotta be
viewer
on
for you
time.
too. I'm sure a viewer's like, oh, she's hot. Forget about that,
Oh,
Sarah.
stop.
girl. That's
Let's
that
stop.
Bethany.
Let's
But anyway, back to the topic.
No,
Right.
let's talk about Jon. I think, speaking of hot, I think Jon, the bastard son, is super hot.
You
And
think so?
I
do you
do.
It's weird because I'm reading the books along with watching the show, and they're fantastic. But it's so weird to me because the ages change. So sometimes
Yeah.
I think of them as the book age, and I'm like, this doesn't match up. In the book, Jon is 14,
What?
and I'm like, yeah.
Jon looks about 19, 24.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
we
he looks-
discovered he's actually 18.
Yeah, he's
Really?
18. Yeah.
He's 8,
In
17
real
or
life?
18. No, in
No,
the show.
in the show.
Oh, okay.
In the show,
Okay.
he's
In the
18.
show, he's 18.
Yeah, but in the book he's 14. So I look at him and I'm like so confused once in a while. But yeah, he has this very like, I don't know, there's something like behind his eyes working.
Very sexy.
Yeah.
Now, this tape's.
They say I have that kind of same thing.
Where does this tape? Do we know?
I don't know that.
Does
It'd
anybody-
be really
anybody of us know?
interesting. I feel like
He's
I've-
sleep.
I've
Jesse's sleep over there. He's not really paying attention to
Okay,
us. So
well,
it's
I've
no-
definitely
we'll find out.
heard, but I don't remember. But it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just curious if they film it in like New Zealand or England or
Yeah,
something
it
like
does
that.
have that New Zealand type thing.
It kinda
Because of
does.
mountains, then
A little
the
bit,
white- the
but
white-
then they're clearly on a soundstage when they're in Kingsland.
It's filmed in Northern Ireland.
Thank you
Oh,
so
there we
much.
go.
There we go.
I
He woke up.
appreciate
He woke
that.
up from the dead.
That's
Thank
good to
you.
know.
Thank you, Jesse.
I wonder if the Across the Narrow Sea Targaryen Draconian Land is filmed there too.
Yeah,
Maybe.
The
I know.
tall grass place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, I guess.
We'll have to find this out.
Yeah.
Well, we
yeah.
know that
Northern Ireland.
Northern Ireland is a filming
Northern
place.
Ireland.
We
which
should
is
go
a
stalk
beautiful, Yeah,
them.
exactly. It's a beautiful place. We find.
Oh,
we find that out.
amazing.
Yeah. So John's bastard son, he like almost gets his like butt totally kicked because
Kicked?
killed. Yeah, I know. You're like, Bethany, let's get more specific here. He almost gets like slaughtered
Yeah.
because they find out he's a good fighter and he basically breaks this dude's nose.
Yeah.
And the imp come in and casually and in a very like sophisticated way saves him. But I just in what the imp says, like telling these boys almost men's stories, he begins to like empathize or sympathize with them a little bit, and we start to see him kind of training. Is that right? Yeah, he looks like he's slowly helping them out and like trying to build those forces, and I just found that so sexy.
Yeah.
I found
Damn.
yeah, it was.
Ah,
It was like oh, how wonderful and forgiving. Like these guys were about to kill you, and now you're like, I'm a bigger person than that. I'm gonna train you.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
you know,
that was very
because
nice.
I mean it does touch home. Like a lot of times people judge people and they have a preconceived idea or a notion about a person until they learn, their story or their backstory, and then they're all of a sudden like, wow, we're kind of similar, or we come from, because basically they all came from the same kind of situation where they were all bastards in their own their own way. And the bond, they begin to develop a bond because of it.
Yeah.
And I think we've seen that in every episode a little bit.
every
We
episode.
saw John obviously bonding with his youngest sister Arya, and that was both because even though they both belong to the same family, they both were outsiders in their own way.
Yeah.
John
Yeah.
obviously bastard, and Arya like doesn't want to be a lady.
And she
they had
doesn't
this
want
bond.
to. Yeah, she doesn't want to be a lady. She wants to be like this strong.
She wants to be a
man.
boy.
Yeah, this strong man. Yeah.
So they bonded,
Yeah.
and then we're kind of seeing John and Tyrion the Imp bond, and both of them are kind of the black sheep of their family.
Yeah.
And now I think we're going to see him bond as a trainer type person for these other men who are sentenced to the wall.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of a running theme. Like we see the people who are outsiders bond, and we see the people who are privileged bond. It's like it's very interesting, but it ends up all intertwining.
And then no matter where you put a Stark, they seem to rise to the top.
They do,
Yeah.
because they seem to act with authenticity
Yeah.
and honesty
Yeah.
and lead with that. I'm just watching this scene on the screen here now where Lord Stark is with Arya, and she's going, well, why? Why did my sister have to lie?
Yeah.
And what did you guys think of that scene?
I thought it was so true to the storyline, just because.
Really?
Oh, definitely, because what he tells her in the scene is that she has to back up this kid because he's going to be her husband one day.
This douchebag kid.
Joffrey. Yeah, Joffrey is.
kid.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Totally true.
Prince Joffrey is going to be king, sometime
Yeah.
in his lifetime, and
And they're betrothed.
yeah,
And
Yeah.
if he thinks she doesn't like her, I mean, he's the king. He could totally have her secretly killed or
Yeah.
something.
Or locked in a room and spend time in a cage, and so.
Exactly.
But she
excuse me, the crow, what crows do, right?
No, tell me, sir. We're
Crows-
we're actually watching the episode
Yeah,
play right now,
Well,
and
so are our listeners. They
yeah,
can see
I
us.
guess they can see us,
Well,
but yeah.
But yeah, the crow symbolizes death, because anytime, in natural life, they say that if a crow
Yeah.
lands on your shoulder, then you're going to die.
Does a crow really land on people's shoulders? Does that happen?
I've heard of a situation where a crow has landed on, a friend of a friend
Okay.
that actually passed away. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I
They
want to hear
said-
this story.
Well,
now.
they said that. The friend of the friend told me that one of my friends in high school, a crow had landed on his head. Well, a couple of weeks later, he died. Yeah. Yeah.
That's freaky.
So yeah, crows are actually symbolizing of death.
Death.
Yeah, and that's why when that crow landed, she started talking about death and started talking about all things that are dead, which is the White
and-
Watcher. Right.
Yeah.
It's actually even a little more than that. It's very cool that you picked up on that because they drew that crow from the book. Like there's this, it's just interesting because the crow there's a big scene that they didn't add in this, but it's basically in Bran's mind when he's still asleep, and this crow tells him he has to fly. And basically when he finally gives in to this crow telling him to fly instead of fall, then he gets to live. He wakes up. So it's very interesting that you even noticed the crow because they did in a way pull that from the book. And it is a symbol. It is a symbol of the death and the avoiding death, and that crow actually flying away.
Yeah. Wow. What did you all make of his I want to say mum, but his mother coming to visit and she I love it that they go to the brothel and she's like, "How dare you? This is so inappropriate." But like she also didn't look like that outraged.
No, she's been in a grimy situation before.
She's too classy to get fully outraged. She'll chuck something.
I mean, she wasn't like hiding her eyes. She was like
exactly. I think she's been in a situation like she's been in some bad situations up north. I'm sensing.
Yeah.
Or even in King's Landing, because she knew a lot of people in King's Landing, like Peter, which is the guy that owned the brothel. They go way back. So, and then he deals in brothels. So I think she has a little. She's got a little street cred. I think she's a little street cred.
I think she was being upset for like maybe
I'm
her,
not like
her
that
like
anymore.
stature, but was really not all of that outrage.
Exactly,
How dare you?
Exactly.
I find actually, speaking of Catherine and this guy who
Peter.
I call him Littlefinger because I guess that's her nickname for him.
Yeah,
okay.
Littlefinger.
But they have a really interesting little relationship.
What is that?
Well, he's on the small council, so he obviously has a lot of power. But he said in this episode that he was in love with her.
Yes.
And he went so far as to try and fight the first guy who was supposed to marry her. Yeah. Who was Ned's brother.
Yeah.
Another weird little loop that they throw in there. But like that's a very interesting thing that Lady Catherine says that she trusts him like a little brother, and I'm like,
and
this doesn't seem right. He does not seem that trustworthy. And like he was willing to fight the guy who first married you. Like, how are you going to trust him with the life of your new husband?
Exactly.
Yeah, he doesn't seem. I agree. I would agree with that statement. It seems like he has
tunnel vision. I mean, he clearly told Ned Stark. He was like, there's nothing I won't do for her. Like, I can't refuse her at anything. So he's clearly showing that he has these kind of affections for her that are not brotherly.
Yeah, but it's definitely.
If it matters. I mean, I don't even think it matters in the Game of Thrones whether you're brother, sister, cousin.
I don't.
Twin.
I mean, we learned a while ago that for the Targaryens on the other side, they normally marry brother and sister. Yeah. So I don't think it is that weird. I think it's still very wrong to sleep with your brother when you're married to the king.
Absolutely.
I think that's a different.
I think it's very wrong to sleep with your brother.
Yeah.
Twins.
In
That's
general,
kind of weird.
Yeah, it is a little weird.
But the times, I guess we have to deal with the times. Like I said last week, back then, a lot of times royalty would sleep with family so they can keep the bloodline.
Just keep the power.
Keep the power within the family.
So that the power doesn't switch to somebody else.
Exactly.
So it makes sense.
And some of those kings are crazy.
Trying to maintain power.
It just seems a little close that you have a twin, like you're in love with your twin.
And I think they have a kid.
Do you think so?
I think the little prince is their kid.
Yeah, probably. Because he is blonde. Yeah, he's blonde.
Blonde-haired, blue-eyed. I mean, rules of genetics, most likely. That would.
That's kind of a different type of.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah,
no, it's a plot. Like that's something that we have to follow.
Yeah,
I mean, in the show, Cersei the Queen says that everyone outside of their family is an enemy.
Is an enemy. Yeah.
And from their relationship, she just makes it seem like he's so much of her family and really removes him from his father's family. Said father's
and
family.
do you think King Robert, you think he knows it somewhat?
No.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
Well, it's kind of one of those things. Like, you remember when the direwolf, when the direwolf bit him, he was like, he really wasn't super compassionate about the situation.
I think that was more of that Robert used to be this amazing warrior who just was bloodied the battlefield, and he's like, I mean, it probably should send off red flags, like maybe this isn't my son. Like he's a wimp and he only likes his mom. And
he doesn't seem to care too much. I mean, but if I was like a killer crazy warrior and so like a dog bit my son, I'd be like, it's a dog. Like,
you're fine.
Like a dog bit you. We saw the scratches. It wasn't. I mean,
it wasn't like he bit his hand off.
Yeah.
No, they didn't. They were very minor.
Yeah.
And then she was like, and then you killed the dog. Do you remember that bit where his mother is like telling him what happened?
Yeah. What about the dog? Why don't you kill the dog? And
she just basically like, she's such a manipulative person.
She's so manipulating.
I'm going to make you believe this story, and you're going to spread this, and we're all going to spread this, and then our truth is going to be the world's truth.
Yeah.
Like, that's how it goes.
It was a little weird. Like, clearly he didn't kill the dog, but she's like, now you did kill the dog.
Yeah, like,
and
whatever.
I was like, wow, you people are messed up.
Big time.
And so I don't know how Lady Catherine is going to prove or go to Robert, or how anybody's going to go to Robert with this knife to be able to prove the Lannisters wrong.
The Lannisters.
How is that even possible?
It's me personally, I think something's going to happen to Kat.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's one of those things where the cruelty and the manipulation is so deep that it's super dark. Wherever she's going is going to a very, very dark place.
Yeah.
And we do understand, or at least I understand, that when you go to a really, really dark place, the darkness doesn't really want to come to the light.
No.
So it's going to do whatever it can to
permeate.
Keep it that way.
Yeah.
So something, if she keeps scratching down there in the basement, something in the basement is going to keep her there. Yeah.
I was like, oh, I don't know if you want to prove that. Maybe just worry about keeping your son safe.
Yeah. I agree.
But she seems
she's
pretty
dead bent. She's dead bent.
on contesting this and bringing it up and bringing it to Robert. Which when we also find out Robert doesn't really care for the
Lannisters.
Yeah.
Oh,
anyway.
No.
Yeah.
Not at all, I don't think.
But see, this is my plot. I mean, I think what's going to happen, something's going to happen to Kat. Like, I think Kat is going to get killed. I think she's going to get killed. Ned's going to go crazy in that situation because he's going to think that the Lannisters did it.
Yeah.
Because she already gave him the tidbit that it was a Lannister's knife. The dagger was Tyrion's.
Yeah.
So Ned is going to react, and he's going to kill one of the Lannisters, and then it's going to start a war within that particular family. It's like,
I think there is going to be a war started within. I'm not so sure they'll kill off Kat just because she's such a powerful woman in this situation, and I feel like there's so much more to her story. Plus, she has so many people even there, obviously, like, in love with her. She has a lot of respect. So I don't think they're going to kill her off just because I think they kind of need her. I think it's going to come down to no one's going to be able to prove to Robert except for Robert hearing himself. Yeah. Like, they're not going to be able to do it.
Or the child saying it to Robert. Yeah,
like,
that could do it.
Yeah, those are the only really things I could see him believing.
Yeah. We also find out who killed the Mad King and how the Mad King died. And is it Tyrion?
Arius. Arius. Which one, with the Mad King? What's his name?
No, the Mad King. No, the man who killed the Mad King
Jaime
is
Lannister.
Jaime.
Jaime Lannister killed the Mad King, which is Arius.
Arius. Okay, and
Arius is a Targaryen, which was there's only 2 Targaryens left. Yeah, and
2.5 now.
2.5 now. Yeah, 2.5. 2.5 with
Miss the new Khaleesi being pregnant.
Yes.
But we find out that he stabbed him in the back. And he said, what did he say? I remember Robert saying, well, what did he say? And he said the same thing that he was saying for the last hour. Burn them all.
Yeah.
And it was like in that moment, Jaime took the power back from Robert. And it was a very odd moment.
Yeah.
Well, I think part of that comes from the fact that the Mad King killed Robert's father and brother, and in a way,
it was Ned's.
Sister.
It was Ned's. I thought it was Ned's brother and father.
You're right. But he killed them, and then, like, in a way, killed Ned's sister, who he was in love with.
Yeah, you're right.
He, like, I believe
Robert was
he
in love with
burned Ned's father and brother.
Yes,
So
he
when he said
did.
burn them all, I think it was even more like, haha, people you cared about burned alive too.
Yeah.
Like, you can't tell me what to do. I'm going to throw things that really hurt you back in your face.
Yeah, and to me, it's kind of like to touch on what you said. It's almost like, well, look, I protected you too, you know, type of thing. Like, he said, kill them all, and you're blaming me for doing this, but I did it for you.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
Yeah.
So I have you by your balls because you owe me.
Exactly.
Kinda, you
I
know,
did
type of
this
thing.
for you.
Yeah.
You could definitely see in that moment he took the power
Yeah,
back.
he took the power back by
It
saying,
was
you
like-
owe me. You know.
And the king was being so, I want to say such a dick, but that's kind of not nice. He was being just so forthright for all of those moments
But
before.
here's the thing, though, Bethany. If you understood the king,
Yeah.
like we had an opportunity to watch it last week.
Yeah.
And you, if you understood the king, you wouldn't think of him
I would
as a dick.
I would think he
You
was
would-
more compassionate. I would
No,
be
you
more
would think
compassionate
like
to him.
you would be like, yeah, you would be more. You'd be like, yeah, tell them Lannisters, because it's one of those things where the Lannisters are so cruel,
Yeah.
and they have their hands in so much negativity that when the king is saying what he's saying, you're like, yeah, because they're such dicks. Like
Yeah.
they need to be told.
It's funny at what point you come in on a
Yeah,
character
yeah.
to view them, because I was watching him treat the younger like cousin page boy that's clearly related to them
Yeah.
so awful, and
Yeah.
I immediately empathized with that moment
Mm-hmm.
and went, oh, why are you being so mean to this man who's like clearly terrified of you and just giving you wine and then talking about your like spoils of war.
Yeah.
So I thought that was
Yeah, Lancel Lannister, I believe, is the name of the boy that you're speaking of. Yeah, he's a cousin. He's one of the cousins to the Lannisters.
Yeah.
And he's like, I guess he's kind of slow. Is he kind of
I think
slow?
he's just the servant. Like he's treated like a servant in the household.
But I thought he mentioned like, oh, you're kind of slow, you know, or whatever. I don't know.
Oh, I
don't
didn't.
know.
He is.
I don't know.
I
Like
don't
maybe
know.
if he is, I'm sure we'll learn
Yeah,
more
yeah,
about
learn more.
it.
I have to say my favorite scene of the evening was watching Khaleesi stop
Yeah, that
like
was
the
deep.
cavalry movement
deep.
and say, no, we're stopping now.
Yeah.
And then she goes to take like a walk through like this bamboo forest or
To meet
something.
up with her brother.
Yep, and her brother comes and like attacks her.
Yeah.
And
It's crazy.
it was so crazy.
I like how this story is turning out. Like he first sold her, like basically sold her to the highest bidder.
Yep.
And he actually stated that I don't care if it takes 40,000 men to sleep with you for me to be king. I'm going to do it. That's what he
Yeah.
said the first episode. And then here it is, his sister, who he thought was just a puppet,
a pawn.
a
Yeah.
pawn, has took now she has this power over this, because by her having her husband Drogo and so much in love, she pretty much commands this big army that she has. And you do know, like, the story goes, like, behind every powerful man is an even more powerful woman.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what's happening in the situation. She's like, if she says, baby, I want everyone dead, he's going to be like, okay.
All right.
And then she says she has a boy in her stomach. I mean, she's given, and then you understand that type of period back then, men meant a lot. Like, to have a boy son meant more than anything. So for her to be able to give him a boy, it's saying that her womb is
Good.
It's good.
Yeah.
So that's what that symbolism is for. I'm a history. I love history. Game of
What
Thrones.
I mean, I know this is all fictional, and they even have, as you were saying earlier, like made up languages. Like they've
Sarah's-
actually like
Created
a language for this book and for this series, which just floors me. What time period are we in?
It's not actually. It's kind of pulled from a lot of like more like the Gothic and ancient mythical era, but it's a totally separate world. It's actually it's not Earth. It's a totally different fantasy land, like Lord of the Rings status.
The Middle
completely
Earth kind of.
New world.
BC-ish.
But
Say
yeah,
BC-ish.
There's a lot of cultures brought into it. Like obviously the Seven Kingdoms are very much like a European almost type feel. Like you almost feel like they're the French and the
Absolutely.
English, and they have these attitudes that you just seem like that.
Yeah.
Those like the tales of like
Camelot
Arthur, exactly Arthur. And the round
Yeah.
table. It's set
Yeah,
there,
I get that.
and then you see the other cultures through the Targaryens who are like the Indian almost type people,
Yeah,
and
like Mongols, like kind of like a Mongol type.
and it's completely
Right.
if you like completely like kind of like the horse lords of the Persian Empire time,
Yeah.
where you had these warriors who only rode on horseback and
Yeah.
mission was just to kill people and live off the land. So all these cultures of the ancient times are definitely brought in, which
Yeah.
is why it seems kind of familiar to us.
It does. It
Yeah.
seems super familiar.
Even
And then,
though-
and then at the same time, but then you're like in a bamboo forest with like a warrior goddess, and you're
yeah,
like, wait a second, let's put this on hold. I'm
know.
not quite sure where we are now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a great mix. So it's a
Yeah.
fantasy land. It's
Yeah.
not actually a time,
Yeah.
but for us, it's most relatable to like the ancient
times,
time
yeah.
of kings and
Yeah.
warlords.
Queens.
And
That's how we think.
Yeah.
As human beings, we think about.
so
think
it's
so.
it's so
Yeah.
similar to like things
Yeah.
we've seen depicted as
Yeah.
like our past.
Because I can
So-
guarantee you,
Yes.
nowhere in this story, someone's gonna pull up in a Bentley. So
No.
I'm assuming that all of it's gonna be
we
horse
can like
drawn.
look for actors who like left their watch on.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Because that's always fun. And
Yeah,
you're like,
it's
oh, this is great. Wait, dude,
Wait
is that a
minute,
watch?
Is that a watch? I know.
That's great.
Does
I
he have
love
that?
I'm confused.
I know.
But,
So, needless to say, I don't think we're going to see that. So, just like what Sarah said, is, it's
Yeah.
more mythical,
Mhm.
but at the same time, I think it's
It's
set in
drawn
BC-ish.
from-
Yeah.
it's drawn
I like
from,
it. I
yeah.
like it a lot.
Not everything is supernatural. We're not
Yeah.
talking about everyone's a supernatural being. They're definitely men
Yeah.
and that type of thing. But now we have these little components of there were dragons and there's
Yeah,
crazy
dragons,
White Walkers
and-
and everything like
I'm
that.
ready for the White Walkers.
See, we saw, like,
We're
that's
not
what-
ready for the White
yeah,
Walkers.
yeah.
No?
We saw, no, they're like,
They're dead, but they're
Yeah.
alive.
yeah.
But that's
they're
why
like
I'm-
7 foot tall kind of
I'm ready.
things.
I'm ready to see some.
She's gonna see them and
You
then
will.
she's gonna be
Yeah,
like,
and then she's gonna
no,
turn away. I
Go
don't want to see
away.
you. I mean,
Oh,
if
really?
you turned away when you saw the previews of the dog getting stabbed,
I don't. I have
you
a
shoulda saw
problem
the
with
White
like
Walkers.
when things are violent towards animals.
Well,
and
you
then
shoulda seen the
then
White
we had
Walkers.
this. I guess we'll just let our viewers in on this. They were like, "Well, what about people?" And I was like, "No, people bother me too, but like animals really bother me for
I
some
think
reason."
I think that happens with like a lot of people.
Just
I don't
not
think
me,
these
just not
White
me.
Walkers are
Yeah.
afraid to kill anything.
yeah.
And I don't know what really their powers. I don't know how they like become created or anything as much. Like the book
Yeah.
kind of hints to it. This kind of hinted to it. I'm not really sure what the truth is
Yeah.
yet, so I don't even know what to say about it.
Yeah.
But I mean, we don't even know. Like you could end up like killing someone and then them becoming a White Walker. That was the feeling I was getting from the book. Was that like if they killed you, you became one of them. So I don't
Interesting.
think they'd rest from killing horses
Yeah.
or dogs.
I'm gonna
or
have to
whatnot.
start in on this book. I
Yeah.
apologize that I haven't already.
I think it's
but-
difficult.
yeah.
Like, I really do. I think it's difficult to read a book while you're watching the movie.
Sarah, would you suggest it? I mean, you're in the midst of it, and does it take away from the fantasy? Do you think at all?
Okay, well, I've really been thinking about this because I was like, I do want to read the books because I feel like you learn so much little details and histories that make this even real. And this show was targeted a lot for the people who read these
Absolutely.
books. So all these people do know this, and like, there are little tidbits of things you don't see, like the crow. Like, I had a relationship to the scene with that. But what I'm trying to do is, I'm almost in line with this show.
Yeah.
So what I've been doing, because I don't want to know everything. I don't want to be able to say, oh, I know it's going to happen. Oh, I know it's going to happen.
that's
That's my point. Yeah.
So
No,
what
I get it.
so what I've been doing to like kind of battle against that is I read to where the last episode ended, and then I kind of read like a couple chapters more.
Yeah.
And like it's not exact. Like there's some things that have been mentioned before, and some things that haven't happened in the books yet that have happened on film, and the
Yeah.
opposite. But I don't want to read too ahead, so I kind of read till what like I
You
think the
just
episode we're
you,
gonna watch
You
is.
pace yourself.
And then like when I talk about it, it's kind of like I've read what happened in
Yeah.
this episode, but I still don't know what's happening in the next episode.
Okay, that's safe.
you in
So that's
suspense.
fair.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I'm
Maybe
doing.
I'll try some of that then, because sometimes I get really into the
Reading
books,
and you
and
go all the way
like
deep,
I don't know about you, but I'm so excited for the Hunger Games. I don't know if you've read that series. I can't think of the writer's name. Isn't that awful that I don't know the writer's name right now? But it's a 3-book series, and it's fun, and it's I think they're casting it now.
Suzanne Collins.
Suzanne Collins. It's amazing. I love the Hunger Games, but as I'm like waiting for these movies to come out, I'm like a little bit terrified.
Yeah, because you don't want to be like, that's not like the, it's not like the book, and then you're so disappointed. That was my thing. I don't want you.
You don't want to be disappointed.
No, you don't want to be disappointed at all.
Yeah.
Honestly, I haven't read the whole series, so I can't speak for every reader who's read them. But so far, I think that they've done a pretty darn good job. Like there are some little things that are like, oh, like we're looking at the screen right now and we're seeing the whole fight scene with the new Khaleesi, whose name is Dany. Like she's watching, and like there's little things like in the book her eyes are violet, and this they're like blue, but nothing too big. Like for the most part, they're pretty loyal to the book, and like it's really easy to like envision this in the book, which to me is what expectations are about.
I agree.
So I think they're doing a good job.
I feel that way with Harry Potter. Like I being a Harry Potter fan, I think maybe there's like one movie that I was a little disappointed to out of the lot of them. But overall, like I'm pretty much thrilled with all of the movies.
I would agree. On the Harry Potter note, I would definitely until up to the last movie.
Exactly.
The last movie,
it was the last movie
you people,
that
I'm talking too directly.
I know. But and maybe I'll feel better once the next one comes out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been like really like sated by them, and like I feel as a loyal fan and viewer that I'm like they've been doing a good job with them.
Yeah, with my short experience, this show is doing a great job of really keeping characters alive and giving them dynamic and like making everything look really real. Like the wall is a crazy giant ice structure.
That CGI is amazing, right?
Yeah, and like honestly, if you're invested in the show, I believe it. Like it's not oh, this looks so fake and everything looks so cheesy. Like they even make the dragon eggs look like real eggs.
You're like, I have seen dragon eggs, and I know that this is an actual dragon egg.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly.
I have a dragon egg right here.
So they're taking everything, and I feel like they're just really pushing every little detail, and I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I love this elevator as well. I had fun watching that. This like giant elevator going up this wall. I'm like, wait a second, and then I'm like, oh no, it's not a real Earth. You can have those giant elevators, of course, and that's what kind of makes it fun. God, I think we covered everything. I think we did it.
I think we did too.
Yeah.
And I'm ready for the predictions when we.
Yeah, and if anyone ever wants to like call in and give us things that we might have missed or you want to hear more about,
I'm sure there's plenty of experts on this.
I'm sure.
That
there's people
plenty
like
of Sarahs.
Have a lot to say.
Someone's gonna call and be like, actually, this is like this and this and this, and we're gonna be like, whoa.
I will bow down to it. I will take it. I appreciate it.
Very interested in this.
Yeah.
I feel like the more information you know about the show, the richer it gets. Yeah. And I think that's just going to happen with every episode. We're just going to learn more and more and more.
And I don't think we have any news and gossip on this show this week. I think there's zero. So I guess we can go straight to predictions. Is that cool? All right. So what do you guys predict for next week?
Right after this commercial break.
Okay, there we go. We'll just wait.
Want to find out what the AfterBuzz is about?
Janice is a drama queen.
This is the divide that is going to carry the series.
Give us a call. 424-256-1729. 424-256-1729.
It's television, and they want it to be as dramatic as possible.
I mean, it's Shakespearean.
You never know what goes on behind closed doors.
Find out why AfterBuzz TV is the #1 source for after-show content.
Now, in the eyes of Jimmy, Nucky is a villain.
424-256-1729. 424-256-1729.
I mean, who would you guys rather hear that from? Your husband or your best friend?
The wig will come out.
When the TV show is over, get your AfterBuzz on.
All right, let's go to predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
I love it. Curtis, you want to go?
Okay. First of all, I predict that Sarah's gonna wear something else hot, and she's gonna look gorgeous next week.
Yeah, I think that's an easy prediction.
And I predict
easy.
that Bethany's gonna, she's going to.
I'm gonna step it up and put some makeup on.
Yeah, she's gonna put some makeup on because you're gonna get, hot women.
All dolled up.
I'm gonna get purdy.
Absolutely.
All right.
Okay, now and I also predict that my girl Arya is gonna become this great. I mean, she's gonna get more and more skilled and more. She's gonna play a really, really intricate part somewhere in this movie or this series, I predict. And it's gonna get a winter and these. You're going to see these walkers. You're going to see
I'm gonna add on to your prediction. Yeah, I think the imp is going to. God, I feel like I'm saying something wrong when I call him the imp. Okay. I'm like
you can call him Tyrion.
Or Tyrion.
Tyrion or Tyrion? It's Tyrion.
All right, so Tyrion or Tyrion. I think he's going to encounter something fierce in the woods, whether it's a white walker or a wild thing or something.
So you think he's going to leave behind the wall? You think he's going to go down into the basement?
He's going back to summer. That's what they said. He's
Kingsland.
like going to Kingsland. He's going on a journey, and so I think during that journey, something's going to happen to him. That's my prediction.
I'll add on to your prediction. I think he's going on this. He's obviously going on this journey. I think he's going to end up at Winterfell. And I think we're going to find out whether or not he really had something to do with Bran's attempted assassination. Because we learned in this episode that it was his dagger. But I still am not sure if he did this for his family or if they stole it for him and plotted him to get found. Because I would not put them past sending even their own brother into a mess like that. So I'm thinking we're going to see whether or not he tries to attack him again once he finds out he woke up and wasn't actually assassinated. So I think that's the next step for him. I also think that we are going to see a little more of I want to see what Kat does. I think we're going to see Kat trying either prying into something or on the other hand, I think we're going to see Ned and the guy Littlefinger, or I believe his name's Peter. I think we're going to see more competition in between them, something along those two.
And definitely Ned and Jamie, they're going to have
I love it.
Problems.
Well done. Thank you so much.
From producers Kevin Undergaro and Phil Svitek, engineer DJ Jesse Janity, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. If you have questions or comments, be sure to buzz us at info@AfterBuzzTV.com. And you can find us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter by searching for AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.